I don't hear anything.
Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, now I hear you.
Roman, can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, I do.
Okay, great. Okay. So I would like to welcome you on behalf of the Istanbul Aydın University Blockchain Academy for the blockchain talks. Today's subject is the cross-border blockchain infrastructure and areas of implementation. And we have really very distinguished two speakers. I can say that they are the expert in their subjects, Mrs. Nena Dokuzov and Professor Dr. Roman Beck. And I think today's participants will be benefited a lot from the both speakers, because both speakers has tremendous experience in blockchain. I can say that they are one of the people started the blockchain awareness. Our first speaker will be Nena Dokuzov. I would like to make a short introduction of Nina, that everybody will understand from whom they will hear. Nina Dokuzov is the head of project group for new economy and blockchain technology at the Ministry of Economic Development and Technology in Slovenia. She encouraged and led the preparation of action plan for blockchain technology, a strategic and implementation framework with the purpose to identify relevant areas for blockchain, both vertical and horizontal, and to define regulatory framework and steps necessary for the development of new regulation for blockchain. Action plan was adopted by the government of Slovenia in May 2018. Nina Dokuzov is also national representative at European Blockchain Partnership. In 2019, she became a head of delegation of Slovenia at UNECE and was a member of expert team at UN CFACT in the preparation on white paper on blockchain and practical implications of blockchain technology for the achievement of SDGs 2030. She is also a member of OECD Blockchain Expert Policy Advisory Board and vice chair of Advisory Group for Advanced Technologies of UNECE. So, dear Nina Dokuzov, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm very pleased to participate at your session today and to share some thoughts with your students and with your ecosystem, so the companies and others that are present today. If I manage to share the screen, then I will do this because I prepared the presentation. Can you see it? Probably you cannot see it. Errol, okay. If you can share it, because I don't know what is wrong. In any case,
Nina, we can see
you
it.
Can see it. Okay, yeah. Perfect then. Then I would like just to start where the European Commission started and how we dealt with this in Slovenia. It all started in 2017 with one very strong meetup that we had in Slovenia, and we organized a whole ecosystem around the blockchain technology. There was also the time when ICO launches were the strongest. So in that time, we started also the communication with the European Commission. And on the European level, it was developed or established EU Blockchain Observatory and Forum. And this was the first step towards to what we have today, and what I will explain a little bit later. After that, in April 2018, the declaration was signed by 23 countries of EU member states and EEA area, and with that declaration, also the European Blockchain Partnership was established. European Blockchain Partnership is I have a short presentation of the partnership. Is one of the most tremendous network that is very it's not usual work with the Commission within, because the European Commission, you know, they have some meetings, they communicate with the member states, but here we have a real partnership between the Commission and European member states, and they invited national representatives in that EBP, so European Blockchain Partnership with the national representatives. So we had first two meetings at July and June 2018 to present the use cases, the possible use cases that can be taken into account. They were selected by Blockchain Observatory and Forum. And the first use cases were blockchain for land registry, VAT, and interoperability, and one of Estonian case of blockchain-based solution for data transfer. After that, we found out that we cannot develop or start to develop those use cases, and there was a study from PricewaterhouseCoopers, and this study showed how what we can cover under blockchain infrastructure, what we need and what we have to start to develop. So in 2019 and 2020, the things were going on, starting with the development of EBSI, and this is European Blockchain Services Infrastructure, and the three use cases: a use case of self-sovereign identity, notarization or authentication, and diplomas. Here I have a structure of EBP. EBP, this is European Blockchain Partnership Policy Group. Here we are member states representatives, and then we have European Blockchain Partnership Technical Group. It is taking care of EBSI infrastructure, and we have working groups for use cases. One is for self-sovereign identity, one for notarization, and one for diplomas. Further, we adopted the solution that we are going to develop in 2020, another three use cases, and these are social security card, then asylum on blockchain, and the SME financing on blockchain. But in 2019, European Blockchain Partnership adopted a statement. So the policy group will work together towards realizing the blockchain-based services. It is intended to share the experiences, best practices, key learnings, and promoting interoperability amongst a relevant public and private sector. So the EBP policy group is intended to agree the creation of new EBSI user groups for new use cases. And I have to say those groups are very interesting because either the members of the member states, so from the public sector, and also the experts are collaborating within the development of certain use case. What was further developed, it was the concept of co-presidency or or co-chairmanship. So the trio of the member states that have the presidency of European Council, then we are co-chairs with the Commission leading that European Blockchain Partnership. So for further developments, in 2020, first version of EPSI was launched, and then EPSI nodes were open in member states. Mostly the universities in the member states opened the first round of EPSI node. So after that, the Commission, the European Commission, launched the CEF Telecom call for projects. And the member states received the funding for initiating, operating nodes of EBSI. Also, Slovenia received the funding for opening the node. And now we are in the process of public procurement for this node. 2021 Digital Europe program was adopted. Then we had I don't know if you heard about this, but we have a recovery and resilience facility. This is for recovery of from Corona pandemics. And there has been dedicated quite a substantial amount for funding for digital, because it was obligatory to fund digital contents. We had to reach 20% of the whole program dedicated to digital. So a certain amount from the money for digital is dedicated also to blockchain. Then European Commission will start to develop blockchain strategy. EPSI infrastructure version 2 will be developed, and also other use cases will be selected. We have early adopters program. So the one who is using or who is running the node, the early adopters use cases can be found, can be selected, and can be tested on blockchain. I will slightly touch the EPSI as an infrastructure. Is a public permission blockchain infrastructure. Nodes will be used by European Commission and the member states. It is intended for public access to public data and to business and civil society. It is also guarantees the cross-border interoperability, or will be when it will be fully operational. Then we will have cross-border interoperability, and we have that two-layer infrastructure. This is infrastructure and also the service layer. What I explained before, the 4 use cases we have. Another one was here also connected with taxation. And it is developed by the other Directorate General for taxes. And what is very important is that in further steps, not only for EBSI, but we started to develop also global interoperable blockchain infrastructure. I don't have it here on the slides. I just want to show you how the Slovenian first meeting was organized in one space center that is very famous in Slovenia. And the other one, it was in October 2017. This was first international blockchain meetup, and also the European Commission started to develop this concept, what I was explaining before. So maybe just a few words for the European blockchain, for UNC fact chain, because it will maybe be relevant also for This community today we are developing within UNCFACT. This is Economic Commission for Europe, but also for trade facilitation in broader range. We started last year to develop the concept note or white paper on UNCFACT chain. This is global interoperable infrastructure, and we are within this project. We are how to say elaborating the three dimensions of that interoperability. First dimension is legal interoperability. We found out very interesting things. The second thing is governance interoperability, and the third dimension is technical interoperability. And we were assessing also the single and multi-DLT systems. And if you are interested, we can invite you also to participate in the next stage. The project was will be sent to the public consultation very soon, and we will try to integrate some solutions that are already available on the market. So I would finish here, and if you have any questions later after Roman's presentation, I will be happy to answer on this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nina Dokuzov, for your very fruitful and explanatory speech. Now I would like to give the word to Professor Roman Beck, but before I will give the word, I would like to talk about him, because I will say he is the blockchain economist, we can call him, and his research focuses on the role of changing nature of work due to blockchain, with focus on governance and value creation in decentralized systems. He is interested in institutional logics of organizations, organizational mindfulness, and awareness. Roman has published over 30 journal and 60 peer-reviewed conference articles in outlets such as Management Information Systems Quarterly, Journal of the Association for Information Systems, European Journal of Information Systems, Journal of Strategic Information Systems, Journal of Information Technology, Communications of the Association for Information Systems, and many others. Roman is also co-conference chair for ISIS 2022 in Timișoara, Romania, and co-conference chair for ICIS 2022 in Copenhagen. He serves as department editor at Business and Information Systems Engineering. Roman, head of the Danish ISO TC 307 Blockchain and Distributed Ledger Technology Standardization Group, and representative of Denmark at the European Blockchain Partnership Technical Working Group at the EU Commission in Brussels. He is appointed OECD Policy Advisory Board and at the UNECE chain, where he leads the governance interoperability. He is full professor at IT University of Copenhagen. Roman, I'm very proud to announce you, and I'm very keen and excited to listen to you, what you will add more on the niche. Thank you. Roman, the floor is yours. Roman, we could not hear you.
I'm sorry, I was still muted. Let me, I have to do a quick recap. It's a great honor to be here today, and thank you very much for the invitation. And it's also a great honor to speak second to Nina kind of in this webinar, because she's clearly one of the driving forces in Europe on the political landscape to push for the regulatory environment, for the technological infrastructure, to develop business on blockchain and procedures for public sector agencies in Europe and beyond. So it's great to be here today. And clearly you have seen there is some overlap of the work Nina is doing and my roles at the European Blockchain Partnership, OECD, UNECE, and that's nice to kind of complement what Nina just said with something that is more related to the research we are doing at the European Blockchain Center. I'm assuming you can see my slides by now. I will jump over that one briefly because this is essentially what you already said, Errol, about my background and what I'm doing. We take pride in the fact that we are not doing that bad when it comes to blockchain education, especially in blockchain economics topics, where we are running courses since 2016 in different fields and at different levels. So this is just a bit of an advertisement slide for IT University and for the Blockchain Center. We are doing workshops, seminars. I'm heading delegations to China, to Russia, business delegations when it comes to informing companies and public sector administrators alike. And this is a snapshot of a few activities. Some of them, of course, also brought me to the Middle East and other places where we are working together with universities as well as with companies. For example, we have right now a project with the Reserve Bank of Australia working on stable coins and central bank digital currencies, having a project with a company from Tokyo on decarbonization of transport using blockchain solutions. This morning I had a meeting with a colleague from Shanghai where we talked about the blockchain service network, which is the Chinese version of EPSI, the infrastructure China is working on quite successfully. So you can see, if you haven't got this so far, blockchain is going to be bigger than we've seen in the past, and will infiltrate and be integral part of different processes cross-border. And that is the topic of today. When we talk about interoperability, we of course also need to talk about governance. How do we actually run an infrastructure in a not only legally sound way, which is difficult enough, but also in a commercially meaningful way, so that your contracts, your agreements, the business purpose is met and actually is supported by such an infrastructure. Interoperability governance, cross-border governance, not only within DLT systems, distributed ledger technology systems, but especially there, because it is kind of hardwired, coded into the infrastructure, needs to obey to and needs to support things like interchain dispute resolution. If something goes wrong, how is that resolved? Auditing mechanisms that meet the different requirements in different countries, if that is a multi-country operation, compliance mechanisms, incident management, change management, who is in charge of making decisions, and so on and so forth. So clearly this is not an easy task. Kind of Nina just mentioned also the governance of the European Blockchain Partnership, which is underneath the EU Commission. And this is also an example for an international governance structure that is quite cumbersome to bring many member states together and agree on something in those working groups. But of course, that is necessarily also when it comes to having the system operating nodes in the different countries, and the use cases Nina talked about need to be sound and used and available in these different countries, and need to be managed on-chain or on-ledger and off-chain or off-ledger, so that you have complementing systems that can actually interact with those ledger environments. clearly kind of many things come to mind, not just for cross-border operations, also for industry solutions that need to be kind of taken into consideration when it comes to operating a DLT environment for a specific industry, let's say the logistic industry or the finance industry, or across countries to assure certain international activities on EU or UN level. Data privacy, trusted identity. Nina talked about the need for identity, self-sovereign identity, a super big topic. Infrastructure security, so the nodes themselves, the infrastructure themselves, the connections, law enforcement mechanism if something goes wrong, compliance monitoring, something we are working on ledger data analytics to have ongoingly something like a dashboard to see operations if they are legally sound and technically from a scalability point of view, but many other things need to be taken into consideration. So you can see a cross-border DLT infrastructure is very demanding. And the only reason why the EU, China, and other countries are pushing for such a solution is because the rewards are equally huge. If you can operate something cross-border in a sound way, then the efficiency improvements are tremendous. And we will talk a bit about use cases in a moment. But we also often think of those environments as, let's say, friendly companies, friendly countries come together, join forces and do something. That is not the case. Companies, countries compete also. They are cooperating and they are competing industry-wise, normative-wise, worldviews. And at the same time, we understand in order to meet grand challenges, global warming, decarbonization, migration, also as a consequence of global warming, countries have to work together. If you look at this 2 by 2, then you clearly see that in a commercial or interoperability model where different companies or different countries work together, you have complementing interests and you have competing interests. And then, of course, you have direct models of dealing with this kind of cooperation, competing, complementing, and you have indirect models, indirect second markets to support that. So clearly we are seeing here, there's something like a support industry and indirect commercial models. Now I'm talking about the lower boxes here, square quadrants, where you see something like blockchain as a service, legal advisory, kind of how to build Chinese walls, or kind of how to keep trade secrets secret, even though you otherwise working together in an environment that is meant to be transparent. So we also need to learn, and that is the blockchain economics part, if you will, kind of which kind of economic model, game theory plays an important role here, market mechanism and engineering plays an important role here. How do you actually create systems that operate quasi-autonomous online on ledger that keep certain activities private, that enforce certain strategies while you are benefiting from cooperating at the same time? So this is not an easy task, but as I mentioned before, it is something that is worthwhile doing, because I think most people here in the call definitely, or the Errol and Nina at least, believe that this is something like the internet of the future. Blockchain as a layer will be internet 2.0, whatever you want to call it, and it will enforce this internet of values, different ways, different terms used to explain that is kind of enforcing transactions as agreed upon. So this operating system for inter-organizational or international systems. And like in this example for supply chain, blockchain DLT systems will be the glue between legally independent entities to autonomously record quantity, track purchase orders, etc., etc. It's a bit like the Windows or the operating system for your PC, but now on an inter-organizational level. And that is not an easy task to achieve, but as the different use cases illustrated by Nina, EPSI is working on, it is something that is spent a lot of effort on to make it happen. Commercially, something we did 2015 and 2016 together with Maersk, the biggest shipping company in the world, conveniently located at the headquarters in Copenhagen, worked on bill of lading, which was then kind of taken over in this article by the World Economic Forum. I think that was 2016 or so, talking about bringing trust back into trade. Also a topic Nina talked about, the UNECE chain, international kind of trusted, reliable, resilient flow of goods and information cross-border, which is central, of course, in a globalized economy. You can go on and say this is also a topic when it comes to ship registration and documents. For example, an extra day for a container ship, and we all have the Suez Channel incident still freshly on our minds. An extra day of a ship in a harbor is something like $200,000 to $500,000 if a ship can't be processed and move on. So documentation, sending the right documents to the right port in order to load and unload containers is very important, as well as a ship register. If you are selling a ship from the Danish ship register to the Singapore ship register, those assets involved, the container ships, are quite expensive. And you want to make sure that the insurance, the ownership, the handover is done in a sound way, so that you're not paying an extra day of insurance for a ship that isn't your ship any longer. Very simple, very mundane example, but there are a lot of issues around what is a ship, what is a vessel, how do you transfer ownership of a vessel, and that brings us into the field of token economy and tokenization of assets and the transfer of ownership cross-border. So everywhere we work on. An example which we did some. Can you see my slide? Something here we go.
Roman, we have a problem with your voice.
Can you see me now? Am I back?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, kind of, this is fluctuation in the Wi-Fi here.
Yeah, no problem.
The next example I was trying to talk about is related to the decarbonization now, not of the shipping industry, but of all road transport in the EU. There was a project we did in 2018 together with the EU Commission Joint Research Center to track and trace, record all emissions of all cars and trucks on European roads. And can that be tracked and traced, and subsequently actually can there be an auction mechanism for permissions to emit CO2? That was a project we did a prototype and a test bed for a decentralized network. And one of the examples here is, it is cross-border. You want to keep each member state, each country in charge. Sovereign countries stay in control of the data involved, while at the same time you want to enforce certain regulation like lowering CO2 emissions across Europe. So it's a cross-border operation system that keeps the data in the sovereign management of each member state. And that was quite a demanding project to look into and to compare different DLT systems, if that is actually even possible. That concludes my presentation, where I try to illustrate kind of what are the challenges, what needs to be tackled when it comes to cross-border interoperability or a sound operation of DLT systems. I also hope I was able to illustrate some interesting use cases and some challenges, as well as an outlook of what is going to happen. And I'm happy, together with Nina, to answer your questions now. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Roman, for your presentation. Now I'm asking from the participants whether we have some questions from the floor. I'm just checking my chat part, whether we have it. Any questions?
Errol, we have one hand raised. Nazarin.
Yeah, I saw. If she wants to ask a question, she can type. Therefore, I'm waiting on the chat. I saw her already. She should put the question to. Yes, the question from Nazanin Güre is, she wrote, I was wondering the criteria to select blockchain solution based projects. The question is for Nina.
Yeah, thank you very much. Actually, we had till now one call for projects, and this call was intended to use or was dedicated to advanced technologies, and blockchain was one of the advanced technology, one of them, and we were trying to identify the projects which were using blockchain alone or in combination with some other technology that we are calling converging technologies, like AI, IoT, AR, and VR, and so on, 3D printing. In any case, if this is the case about the infrastructure, the selection criteria can be that it is low energy consumption, it is scalable, it has some technical characteristics that do not make any harm to the environment. The criteria can be speed, the criteria can be also accessibility and availability, and one of the criteria can be a popularity. It is very different, and also we have a set of criteria that are connecting to standards, to ensure the security, to ensure the compatibility with the European standards, and so on. For the use case selection, there we did not have such criteria, but it was a concept of a blockchain use case. There were 15, I think, and then we selected 3 of the 15 that were more at higher level of maturity, so they could be easier applicable on blockchain technology. This is from the point of view, but in any case, I have to say that we need to work on selection criteria for blockchain use cases. We will have now that early adopters program, in which we will have to see which of them, which of the use cases can be directly applicable to the infrastructure that we have available on the national level or on the European level. This is the first, and the second, it is also possible that criteria or a selection process can be probably organized within a sandbox. And this is why we are going to create the sandbox, not only for fintech, but other verticals, and to examine how we can use the blockchain for creation of the for support the certain industrial areas. So the criteria for the sandbox will be also defined in advance, and this is the other possibility, more or less. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nina. Roman, do you want to add something, or?
Nina is much better positioned to discuss how the policy group, for example, at the European Blockchain Partnership is deciding on what kind of next use case is selected. But yes, there is something like a call, for new suggestions of use cases, as it has been for version 2 of EPSI, and then it is discussed internally what use cases makes most sense. Then there's also the process of the pre-commercial procurement, where industry consortia were able to make suggestions for what they would like to see realized on top of the existing EPSI. And when it comes to criteria, I would say Denmark has a strong interest in seeing some ethical considerations that will guide our selection criteria as well, which is something we will discuss in the quarterly meeting of the European Blockchain Partnership this Thursday and Friday.
Thank you. I think one of our participants, Nazanin Güre, is very active, so she made a comment also on the way. She said, first of all, I was surprised to see that blockchain-based bus transportation, it is a reflection of EU and Slovenia drive to support blockchain projects. And then she continued, she said, we also have a blockchain solution for events participation proof, and even adapted to Zoom participation during a conference. However, we couldn't find this founding. If you have suggestions to apply, we would be very much appreciated. So thank you, Nazanin, for your active participation. Do you have any comments on this comments or wishes of Nazanin?
Roman, you first.
Yeah, I can. I'm not so super sure if I understand your question regarding the transportation example. So, but I think it is related to the decarbonization of transport. Yeah. And the mentioned number of 300 million vehicles, to be precise, 282 million vehicles, all cars, buses, trucks on European roads, everything that has a combustion engine, is supposed, in order to meet the Paris Agreement to lower carbon emissions and meet the climate goals, need to be able to report their emissions. All new cars registered in the EU with a combustion engine from 2021 onwards this year has to have an onboard unit that is recording the information and then is uploading that information to a database. And the plan was to test if a DLT environment could be used to protect data privacy, the sovereign handling of data within each member state, while at the same time on EU level, you can enforce that rule. So it's a combination of having something organized together while separating the ownership of data. The second question, I was immediately thinking of GDPR topics and problems in Europe. If you would record the participation of, let's say, people participating in this call on Zoom, and you would record that, then you most likely would have some GDPR issues afterwards, as some people may want to have their name or their faces or recording deleted afterwards. But it's a very special question you have there, and it would require to look a bit deeper into what you're doing there specifically. That's all from my side.
Nina, do you want to comment?
Yeah, maybe how to finance this. I know that there are some programs, common programs, for example, between European Union and Turkey. So also on the research area, and yeah, as I read the question, the concept is not to earn the fast money, but maybe to develop a kind of project. I suggest to check Horizon Europe. This is new program for research. We will have also Digital Europe program, but I don't know if it will be international. In any case, we can talk further also with Errol, how we can organize some partnership to apply for the certain project, for example, within that Horizon Europe program, because I know that that Europe has a possibility to connect with the other countries here. Within that program, we have a list of countries that are eligible to participate, and it is very relevant for the academic part, for the research part, and for the faculties. So we can talk further on this and elaborate the possibility of cooperation.
Thank you very much. I think
Thank
we
you.
are almost on time. First of all, I know both Nina and Roman, you are very busy. I know from our yesterday discussion, you are all the time on the Zooms. Very busy. And first of all, on behalf of Aydın University Blockchain Academy, I would like to especially really thank to spare your time for us. And at least you shared your knowledge with us. It is a very big honor, and we have been very excited to hear both of you. And I would like to also thank definitely who made this webinar come into realization. Our director Adem Özyavaş and his team, Gülçin Hanım, Mustafa Bey, and İrem Hanım. I would like to see, and I would like to cooperate also as our blockchain academy with you for different levels. And I would like to adjourn today's webinar. Thanking you again, Nina and Roman. You made our day. We learned a lot of things from you, even a short time. Thank you very much for your sharing, for your knowledge with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, and thank you for having us. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you for having us. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.